when I was growing up, I missed out on a lot of games. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't play as wide a variety of games when I was younger. I didn't. I always stuck to the ones that either my friends had or someone told me about, or just general cheap games. Like I remember playing Crash Bandicoot, the Atlantis games based on the Disney movie, and various other ones. I remember playing a bunch of games, but there were a lot of games in the PS2 and Xbox era that I missed out on. I normally stuck with the ones that I enjoyed, and I replayed them over and over again. I didn't get a bunch, but I missed out on a lot of the big ones. And one of the big ones that I missed out on was Kingdom Hearts. I never played it. I never played it when it was originally out. So blasphemy against me, apparently. How dare you not play Kingdom Hearts, ya scumbag? You must play the Kingdom of Hearts, or you aren't a true gamer. I've actually been doing all that. I'm not lying. But this was one of the games I've always been interested in, due to the fact that everyone I knew at a certain point had either loved this game or hated this game. There was never really a middle ground. No one really loved it or hated it. It was either you love it, you only loved it or you hated it. There was very rarely I came across a person that says, it's okay. But I'm going to be saying this right now. I was luckily enough able to avoid spoilers for the game. I had no idea what the story was about, which is a rarity in these days. Like, I had no idea what the story was about. I hadn't watched Let's Plays, I hadn't watched reviews, I hadn't even watched the completionist video on it, and even that video doesn't go into too many spoilers. And then about a year ago, I'd say about a year, maybe 2 ago, a couple of you in the clan said that you should give Kingdom Hearts a try, and then I stumbled across a video by a guy called Archie and Gaia. Well, I didn't stumble across it, I was always subscribed to him. A couple of videos by Archie and Gaia, and he's a very intellectual guy and very smart, and he's always convinced me. Any game that I've either had a bit of a misconception on, he's always kind of gave me a reason to go and play it. Like Final Fantasy VII, I wouldn't have picked up if he hadn't said. I'd say it's worth a pick up, and I've got it down there. I'm not playing it in a while, but I'm taking my time with it. And this was one of them. He didn't do his full rumination on it. He doesn't do reviews. He does ruminations, and he basically he talked about it, and I was like, I'll give it a try. So I looked around in my local game shops, couldn't find a copy of this for a decent price. This isn't a cheap game still. This is actually still costs, even pre-owned, it still costs about 20 quid, which isn't too much for a game. But I said, no, I'll check on eBay. So I checked on eBay, and I was lucky enough to get a hold of a copy. It's not exactly the greatest nick. It's a pre-owned copy, which you expect. You'd be lucky to get a brand new copy of this. And even that's fucking expensive as hell, I'm not kidding. And I picked this up for about £5, and I also picked up the sequel for £4. So I got a bargain, basically. And it sat on my shelf for a while, and then I decided a couple months ago to start playing it. And then I took a wee break from it, and then the news about Kingdom Hearts 3 came out, and I was like, you know what, that game does look like I might play it, so I have to go back and play these. So I basically, for the better part, ever since E3, have been playing this on and off, and really just take my time with it and enjoying the game. Take my time trying to collect as much of the collectibles as I can, because there's a bunch of collectibles in this game, from the Dalmatian puppies to the torn pages of the Winnie the Pooh book. And really, I'm not going to go into too much about the story. This isn't a review, this isn't a wee on, this is mostly my thoughts on it. So more like a reflection of, another warrior's reflection on the Kingdom Hearts 1. So really, as is, I will try and avoid spoilers as much as I can, but I will have to dive into a few. And I want to keep this vague because, in all honesty, I didn't expect to like this game as much as I did. I'm not gonna lie. When I initially started playing it, I was kind of like, Disney with Final Fantasy characters, a bit iffy, might not work. But surprisingly, it does. I never thought it would actually work like that. I picked it up and I was playing it, and I was like, wow, this is actually kind of good. I'll get to that in a minute. There's one problem I've got with the controls, but I'll get to that in a minute. But I never expected this to be as good as it was. It was a very interesting story. I liked it. I didn't expect kind of an interesting story. I'll say so, it's got a bit of a vague Final Fantasy feel to it, but that's all because there are Final Fantasy characters in it. You don't play as one, but there's Tidus, Leon, Yuffie, Aeris, Cloud, and Sephiroth. Yeah, Sephiroth makes an appearance in this. I'm not kidding, he does. And they all make an appearance in some way, shape, or form, and some of them are quite part of the story. And in all honesty, you get to beat the living shit out of Leon, who basically is Squall, and Tidus, and Wakka. You actually get beat up Tidus and Walker within the first 5 minutes of the game, so that gets a plus from me. I get beat the 11 shit out of two of the most annoying characters in gaming history. Yes! But yeah, like it does have a Final Fantasy feel to it, but I'm gonna be honest, it still has a unique story to it. It's something I didn't expect to be good in this game, is the story. Like, I'd heard people say, oh, they were so touched by the story. And the story's actually kind of good, I'm not gonna lie, and I'm not going to go too much into that, because you really have to experience it. And I never understood that. Like, you can always explain a game to someone, but anytime I've asked someone to try and explain Kingdom Hearts to me, they say, I can't really explain it, you have to play it. And there are some games like that, but there aren't a lot. And Kingdom Hearts is one of them. Like, it's very hard to explain why you should play this game, because you can't really explain it to someone. You have to. It's not like you could try and explain it, but you wouldn't convey the message, because playing through the game, you're going through a bit of a good story, but you're also going for a bit of a nostalgia feel for me. Going through this game, going to the different Disney worlds, Aladdin, Tarzan, Little Mermaid, The Nightmare Before Christmas, that was fucking hilarious, I'm not going to lie. Hercules, you go there as well, and going through these Disney worlds, it was a bit of a nostalgia feel for me, because I haven't seen a lot of these animated movies in a while. I haven't seen Little Mermaid in a long ass time. I haven't seen a lot of these films in such a long time, and these characters who were quite an integral part of my childhood. I remember watching a lot of Disney films when I was a kid, and I loved them all. Call me a sap forever, but I could still watch some of them. And just playing through the game and seeing these characters and playing through it, it's very enjoyable. Like, no, I will say this right now, the main characters, Sora, Riku, and Kairi, they are your JRPG characters. They are, especially, the only character I didn't like that much was Riku. I kind of didn't like him that much. In a way, he's kind of the main villain, but in another way, he's not. But I just didn't like his character that much, in all honesty. It's just, I don't know what it was. He was very, very judgmental in some instances, and also a wee bit. He also manipulated. He was being manipulated by Maleficent, the one from the Sleeping Beauty story. And while I can understand what he was going through, I just couldn't get it. I couldn't really get why he didn't just go to his friend and say, "Hey, what the fuck are you doing?" But he kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Kairi, I can't say much because he wasn't in the game that much. But Sora, surprisingly, I actually enjoyed his character a bit. You could definitely see that he has the kind of character who would evolve. I haven't heard that many good things from his character portrayal in this game, but I'm sticking to Kingdom Hearts right now. And I don't know, I kind of liked his character a bit. He definitely seems like a loyal person who would stick with his friends. And I like that. I really did like that. A wee bit emo-y in some instances, but you can't expect that in most Square Soft games. This is a Square Soft game, by the way, not Square Enix. I definitely can see the appeal to these characters, and I really like that, but it's really enjoyable. The graphical style as well is very amusing. It's a mixture of that Disney style animation and also that classic JRPG style that you wouldn't think would work, but it does. It actually works really, really well. And I was kind of like, how the fuck does this work? Like, that was my main thing whenever I heard of this game. How the fuck that worked? Final Fantasy and Kingdom and Disney, how the fuck could that work? But surprisingly it does. I'll definitely say that. Very, very worthwhile playing. I'll definitely say that. And the graphical style and the music, mixtures of classical Disney tunes with the own composure of the own the own Kingdom Hearts soundtrack. It mixes so well, and I love that. I really did love that. You had like the classical Disney tunes playing in each of the worlds, not all of them, but most of them, and then you had the mixture of the actual music that was composed for the game, and it just mixed so well, and the music was very good. I enjoyed it, and I appreciate a good soundtrack, and I love that about it. The soundtrack was just so well suited for each world. It was so enjoyable, and the music also suited the boss battles as well. Like the epicness that was there. Like, not a lot of games get the right epic feel from music, but Kingdom Hearts does. It actually surprisingly gets the right epic music when you're going up against a boss battle that makes you don't want to stop. That doesn't make you want to stop. Words work, and you just want to keep trying this boss battle until you eventually beat it. And I do like that about it. And going into another wee aspect, I mentioned the collectibles like the 101 Dalmatians and the Winnie the Pooh book. Like, no, I'm not a collectible guy. I hate collectibles. I don't go out of my way to collect things unless the game's really, really good. And Kingdom Hearts does that, actually, because, especially the Winnie the Pooh one, like, I grew up watching a little bit of Winnie the Pooh. I wasn't a big Winnie the Pooh fan, but I grew up watching enough of it that when I was into the Winnie the Pooh world, with the book that you go into, collecting the torn pages, when I came across Winnie the Pooh and it's a bit of a sad story, like his friends are gone, it really touched my heartstrings, and I was like, oh, I want to find all the torn pages now. And I didn't find them all, and I might go back and try and find them all at one point, but I definitely felt compelled to do the collectibles in this, and it's very hard to do that with me with a game. I felt very compelled to go back and try and find as many of the collectibles as I could. I think I found over maybe three quarters of the Dalmatian puppies, and I think I found not all, but a good chunk of the torn pages from the Winnie the Pooh book. And it's very hard to do that with me with collectibles, but this does it really well, and I like that. Like, it's not a collectathon, but it definitely gives you incentive to go back and play them, and I definitely like that. It's really, really good. It does still have that classic JRPG feel if you want to get the best weapons and all that in the game. Like, you have to synthesize and you have to collect X, Y, and Z and merge it together and all that. I don't like that, and I never done any of the synthesis. I just stuck with the weapons that they gave you, which is the Keyblade, and with different key rings on it. And by the way, the Keyblade has quite a good variety of key rings, I'm not going to lie that. I like the design of each one. It represents a different Disney world, and I like the look of it. I like it. I can't help it. And each one has different abilities, and I like it. I like that wee aspect of the Keyblade. I like that. And I kind of see the appeal now of why people kept saying that you have to play Kingdom Hearts. You have to play it at least once, or at least try it. And I would definitely say that if someone who hasn't played it, go and give it a try. It's definitely worth playing in some instances, and I definitely feel bad on missing it when it was first out, because surprisingly I can imagine myself as a little wee Scotty playing this and enjoying the fuck out of it. I would have loved this more as a kid, and I can definitely see why a lot of people hold this game so close to their hearts. No pun intended. The Kingdom Hearts has their hearts. And I can definitely say that if I had played this when I was a kid, it would have instantly got my heartstrings right away, and I would have fallen in love with this game, and I probably would still have my original copy. I would probably, if I had bought it, still have my original copy, because it's that good of a game, and that good of a story, surprisingly, and it's really, really good for that instance. I also like the feeling of the story with the enemy. The enemy's the heartless beings without a heart, which you're kind of like, whoa, that's kind of disturbing. Like, kind of a dark turn, like stealing someone's heart. Like, not actually, Kalima, but the heart of emotion more. Like, it's like your feelings, your heart's desires. That's what these creatures are. They have no desire, they have no feelings. They merely follow the will of darkness. And I like that. It's surprising when you can take an enemy with a simple concept of taking away emotion and their heart, basically, and turning them into something that you feel sympathy for, but at the same time, you know, when you're beating them up, you're putting them out of their misery in a way. And I like that. I really do like that, and how you see that, how this has affected the world, where people have their hearts taken away from them. You come across some characters whose hearts have been taken away from them, and you give them it back. Do you? Or is that Ni no Kuni? That's Ni no Kuni. I haven't played Ni no Kuni, I just remember that. Scratch that. I can't remember. I think you did actually give people give hearts back. I just can't remember where. I think it was the end. Yeah, I'm getting Ni no Kuni and Kingdom Hearts mixed up. I don't know why. No, but you do giving someone's heart back in some ways, shape, or form, and I like that. And this goes like the idea of like what is Kingdom Hearts, where Kingdom Hearts is where all hearts come from, and no one's seen it. No one knows what Kingdom Hearts looks like except for King Mickey. Yes, Mickey's king. Deal with it. And yeah, I like that. A little bit of mystery to it. Like, what is Kingdom Hearts? What does it look like? Is it Disneyland? That's probably what it is. Kingdom Hearts is Disneyland. At the end of Kingdom Hearts 3, you just go into the big doors open and it goes, welcome to Disneyland. $35.95 to enter and £40 for free to get on every single ride. And so it's just like, what? I did all this for a theme park? Fine, here's 40. Let's still go, theme park. That's going to be the end of Kingdom Hearts 3. That's the end of Kingdom Hearts 3 right there. I'm kidding. But yeah, surprisingly, now I'm going to talk about a couple of negatives I had with the game. As I said, I didn't like Riku that much. She was rather annoying in some instances. Some of the boss battles are definitely a pain in the arse, I'm not going to lie. Especially the final boss battle. Like, you go through so many phases of this boss battle, the final boss battle. Like, he has, like, you fight him at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe eight times. Right, I need to get control for this. Oh shit, there goes my X. You fight him like 8 times. He's in different forms, so you can argue the fact that it's not the same boss battle, but it is. It's the same guy over and over again. Cream soda, fucking lovely. And it was a bit cheap as well in some instances. Like, of course, boss battles have like massive health. Like, you have your health if you don't, and it definitely is a bit of a grind fest in some instances where you need to grind a little bit to get your health up and get your magic up and all that. But the final boss battle was just a bit cheap in some instances. I eventually did beat him after like the 4th or 5th try, but it still felt a little cheap in some instances. And some of the other boss battles were okay. I'm not gonna lie, some of the boss battles weren't just okay; they were really good. You got to fight a lot of the classic Disney villains like Maleficent. What the fuck's her name again? The octopus woman from The Little Mermaid. I fucking forgot her name. You fight Jafar. You fight what the fuck's his name? Goliath from Tarzan. You fight the fucking lion. You fight the giant tiger's head from Aladdin. What the fuck's it called? The treasure cave or something. The cave of wonders. That's it. You fight the cave of wonders, which is funny. Like pain in the ass boss battle. Definitely say that. You fight different Disney villains and all that, and it's really good. You fight the boogeyman, like from the Nightmare Before Christmas. That was funny. Bit of a pain in the ass boss battle, but it was dead creative. Like, each boss battle felt a little bit creative, and the final boss battle as well is creative to an extent, but it just was a bit of a pain in the ass and drove me absolutely fucking nuts. Although also I did like beating up Captain Hook. You get beat up Captain Hook and it's awesome. There is one major thing I didn't like about the game. The control. Fucking hell. I keep dropping my PS3 controller. Just X. One major thing I didn't like about the game, and it's one aspect of the controls, and that is the camera. Most games, you control the camera with this thumbstick here. This game, you control it with these two. This turns it right, this turns it left. You can imagine how infuriating that is. Like, literally, the camera is your worst enemy in this game. It fucking drove me nuts. I was literally, you have to constantly fuck, die, you motherfucker, die. You're kind of just adjusting your camera, it gets behind the enemy. It drove me fucking nuts. I'm not gonna lie. And, excuse me, that was one of the worst parts of this game, was the fucking camera. It drove me fucking nuts. Also, the jumping, you use Succo, the jumping, you have to get upgrades to jump higher, which is fine, I get that. This just drove me fucking nuts. Now, I don't know, I think they correct it now, from what I've heard, they do correct it in Kingdom Hearts 2. Huh, I just noticed, you get Jack Sparrow in this. In Kingdom Hearts 2, I just noticed that in the back. Oh, shit. Final Fantasy X-2 characters. Please tell me I get to beat the living shit out of them. I mean, like, Riku, Pain, and whoever the fuck that bitch is. Please tell me I get to beat the living shit out of them, because I will sleep with this game if I do, because I fucking hate those characters. Yeah, but the camera is the worst part of this game. It's just pain in the arse, because you have to use these, and drove me nuts. Drove me fucking nuts, and I hated it. Fucking hated that part, and that's a major gripe. And the final boss battle was cheap as hell in some instances. You can beat him eventually. It just takes a bit of trial and error, which you expect in these kind of games. My hair, sorry, fixing my hair. I kind of expected that in that type of game, so I'm not too fussed about that. But it was rather infuriating, especially with the camera as it is. Ugh. And the ending sequel bait, but I got the sequel right here, so I can't complain too much. I don't know about Kingdom Hearts 2, so yeah. I've also got this one. No, I wanted to play Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 before I played this. Kingdom Hearts 3D Dream Drop Distance. I haven't played it yet because I want to play Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 yet. 2 first. But I can definitely see that Kingdom Hearts is, like, all the nitpicking aside with the camera controls and the final boss battle, I definitely say that I enjoyed the Kingdom Hearts a lot more than I thought I would. I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did, but I did. I really enjoyed it. My favourite part has to be the music, and if I can get a hold of the soundtrack for Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, I will get a hold of it. So if I can get a hold for Kingdom Hearts 1, I haven't had Kingdom Hearts 2 soundtrack yet. And please, no spoilers. I haven't played Kingdom Hearts 2 yet. I'm actually going to probably try and avoid the comment section of this video because some dick will spoil it for me. I know nothing about Kingdom Hearts 2, so I'm going to go into this completely unspoiled, so please don't spoil it for me. Well, I will say this right now, the manual alone has got me excited. Sorry, I have to just stop looking at that. But yeah, I definitely say that if you haven't had a chance to play Kingdom Hearts, definitely give it a try. I think the HD remake's coming out later this year, so I might pick that up actually, because it might be interesting to see how it compares to the original. But I would say that this is a rather really enjoyable game that I enjoyed the hell out of, and I didn't expect to enjoy as much as I did. And thank you to every clan member who suggested me to go and pick it up, and I can definitely say I enjoyed it. I'm not gonna lie. So, would I say Kingdom Hearts worth it or not? This isn't a review. If you I'm probably the only person that hasn't played Kingdom Hearts, but I would definitely say that if you haven't played it, if you can get a hold of a decent copy, which I was lucky enough able to get a hold of, then definitely give it a try. I think it might be on PSN, I'm not too sure, but definitely give it a try if you haven't already, clan, because it is a rather enjoyable game. I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did, and I would definitely say that you should, if you haven't, pick it up. So I think that's all I've got to say on that. If I wanted to talk about more, I'd have to go into spoilers, but the story was rather good. I did definitely enjoy it much more than I thought I would. Couple of things here and there, but I want to try and make sure that I don't spoil it for anyone who hasn't played it, and if you could, please don't do that either. So I think that's all I've got to say. So Kingdom Hearts was more enjoyable than I thought I would. I didn't expect it to like it as much as I did, and I can definitely say that I can definitely see why people hold it close to their hearts. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and well, I guess the next Warriors Reflection will be on Kingdom Hearts 2 when I eventually beat it. So thank you for watching. As always, I'm Scottish Warrior 92, and I'll see you all later. Ciao for now.